As one of the driest, lowest, and hottest places on Earth, Death Valley is known as a place of extremes. But it's also a place full of surprises, history, geological anomalies, and despite its namesake, life. So whether you plan to visit this surreal landscape one day or are just intrigued, here are credible things you might not know about Death Valley. Much of Death Valley's fame comes from its reputation as one of the hottest places on Earth and one of the driest in North America. And on July 10, 1913, the highest air temperature ever recorded was taken at Furnace Creek, when the temperature reached a whopping 134 degrees Fahrenheit. That temperature still stands as the official world record. But some doubts have been cast regarding the reliability of this measurement. As if undeterred and eager to restake its claim as the hottest place on Earth, Death Valley has been churning out potential records for the hottest reliably recorded temperature ever since, especially in recent years. First, on August 16, 2020, temperatures at the Death Valley Visitor Center reached 129.9 degrees Fahrenheit. Then, just under 1 year later, temperatures reached an astonishing 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Just imagine a place where the average monthly temperature doesn't fall below 100 degrees Fahrenheit. June 2021 saw an average day-night temp of 102.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Tsunamis and earthquakes. Devil's Hole is a water-filled geologic formation in Nye County. In 1952, officials made this isolated cave with its geothermal pool into a detached part of Death Valley National Monument. They did so to protect its indigenous puffish, an ancient fish only found there. But besides the rare fish, there's something incredibly unique and strange about the water there. It's something you'll only see if you happen to turn up at the right moment. As it turns out, Devil's Hole has proven to be an unusual indicator of seismic activity worldwide. Indeed, large earthquakes as far away as Japan, Indonesia, and Chile have been known to cause the water in Devil's Hole to slosh around, not unlike water in a bathtub. In some cases, people have reported waves splashing as high as 6.5 feet up the walls, sweeping clean the shallow shelf so crucial to the puffish. Essentially, worldwide earthquakes can create a tsunami in Death Valley. Many ghost towns. Throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, dozens of mining towns sprung up within Death Valley, with many forming in the wake of several gold and silver rushes. But of these many towns that sprung up, few were destined to last long. Indeed, some of these towns, like Chloride City, existed for barely a year. Today, only traces such as tin buildings and cement foundations remain of these towns. Others have disappeared completely. One of the most notorious of these mining towns was Panamint City, infamously founded by outlaws who gave up on a life of crime after finding silver in the Panamint Mountains. But while Panamint City had a booming population of 2,000 in 1874, the silver rush ended in little over a year, and in 1876, the town was destroyed by a flash flood. Stones that move on their own. The flat desert terrain expanse known as the Racetrack Playa is one of Death Valley's most peculiar features. That's because it is home to many large rocks that seem to move on their own. These rocks, known as sailing stones, vary in size from a few ounces to hundreds of pounds. Even though no one has seen them move in person, the stones leave behind trails and their positions have been noted to change. This has led many to believe they indeed do move. The mystery of these moving stones stumped people for a long time. But in 2014, a group of researchers captured the rocks in motion for the first time using time-lapse photography. From this, scientists concluded that the strange movements result from rainwater freezing and clumping behind the stones. Propelled by light winds, this ice then slowly pushes the rocks forward. Lowest elevation in North America. As if it wasn't impressive enough to be North America's hottest and driest place, Death Valley also lays claim to the lowest point. This lowest point is found in the Badwater Basin, which sits some 282 feet below sea level. Once home to an ancient lake, salt flats reaching over 200 square miles now cover the basin, resulting in a strange and surreal landscape. Although the lake is long gone, you can find a small spring-fed pool and boardwalk. Legend has it that the Badwater Basin got its name after a mule refused to drink from this pool. Of course, considering just how salty the water is, it's no surprise that the mule refused. Named by early pioneers. Looking around the arid landscape of Death Valley, it's little wonder that the place got its morbid title. But there's also an interesting legend regarding the area's name, one rooted in a genuinely true story. In the early 1800s, a venturing group of pioneers got lost along the old Spanish Trail after leaving it too late to cross a more well-known route over the Sierra Nevada mountains. What followed proved a terrible and lengthy ordeal, with the party only surviving dying of thirst thanks to a snowstorm. But amazingly, the group did make it through with only one casualty, largely thanks to two of their members having trained as scouts. Legend has it that as they left the valley, one of the men turned and proclaimed, "Goodbye, Death Valley," and the name has stuck ever since. Ancient volcanic explosion. The Ubahe crater is a large volcanic crater some 600 feet deep and half a mile across that may have formed as recently as 2,000 years ago. To the Timbisha Shoshone Indians, the crater has been known as Tempintuosa and is an important cultural site. It's also noted to be a wonderful place to visit at sunset, where the colorful layers of rock become more pronounced. Craters like the Ubahe are the result of maar volcanoes. Maar volcanoes result from steam and gas explosions that occur when hot magma reaches groundwater. The magma heats the water into steam, which builds in pressure until finally erupting and exploding through the earth above.